What's up YouTube, Buddha Marcus here. Figure I'd give you guys a fish room update video. We might as well start the tour in the fish room. As you can see, there are a number of aquariums throughout it. And for those who watch my channel on a regular basis, you know that I use a lot of these tanks for grow out purposes. Any of the fish that I do keep, anytime they have babies, they kind of go through a cycle where they start with these little 5-gallon tanks at the bottom, and you can see that there's a lot of fry in those aquariums, and then they make their way through basically the process. You know, they'll move to a 20-gallon aquarium. As you can see here, here's my 20 gallons, there's a 15-gallon below. Then they go on to a 35-gallon, and once they kind of outgrown their tank conditions here, there's another one below. I move them over to the 55 gallons, and then I think I have a couple other grow outs downstairs, a 75 gallon, and soon I'll probably be using my 135 downstairs for grow out purposes also. So again, no specific theme, just a mix match of everything that I keep, but it seems to work out pretty well. So let's start the tour over here quickly. This is a 20-gallon aquarium. And this is home to some of my Inkfin Calvis, Gold Harbor Lethrinops, and one remaining Firecrest. Really nice fish. Again, these fish all in this aquarium seem to be a little more temperamental and a little more placid than some of the other fish that I'm keeping in the aquarium. So until now, they're going to stay in this 20-gallon until I remove the fish out of this 35-gallon at the bottom. So once this tank is cleared out, those fish from the 20 are going into the 35, and you know, the cycle will continue. So from the 20 and the 20 below, again, I'm not going to spend too much time on tanks that have no lighting on it. Again, they're just grow outs, they're just filled with fry, and a lot of the fry that I have are the same throughout most of the aquariums. So as you can see, this is a 55-gallon grow out. Very full. The fish in this tank are all doing very nicely. This tank also contains a few adult specimens, ones that were in my main display tank beforehand, like this Nyeri male. Very good red coloration. I'd like to eventually get them back into another aquarium, like I said, maybe my 135 downstairs, and breed them a couple times with a few females. It's really good to keep certain genetics alive and well. An issue with a lot of the cichlids in my area is that there's just not enough people replenishing the gene pool, and over time the fish just start to lose a lot of that good genetic makeup. So you know, the fish will become washed out, and then they also become just very poor examples of what they could be. So other than that, I would say there's probably, you know, I have some hongies in here. I'll kind of scroll in on them, kind of dancing around. I think most of them are actually females, considering that they actually have some good coloration. There's a Phenocylus Tanzania. He's just starting to develop the speckling on him. You can notice it's just the one speckle at the top. It's doing very well. And then the rest are probably just a mixture of OBs, electric yellows, and some red by reds. So let's go down below. And usually I can get the, as you can see, this tiger wolf, which is a dove-eye red tiger parachromis mix, is very aggressive. super aggressive. And this guy I will be upgrading soon. He's in a 55, probably around 8 inches. He's done very well with the female. He actually, this pair bred for me in the past, and I had a number of juveniles, but now I'm going to be taking them and moving them up to a 75 gallon. And then once they get to a certain size in that 75, inevitably my goal is eventually to get them into a 135 gallon tank. I'm hoping that because he is a cross, that he's not going to obviously get as big as you know, a full-blown, or say like a full-blown 100% dove-eye. I'm hoping that, you know, maybe something like this cross will max out at 16-17 inches, and then that way I could probably house them, you know, maybe not permanently in a 135 gallon, but I should definitely have a certain amount of time you know, before I ever deal with an issue of him maxing out or outgrowing an aquarium that size. So, like I said, this pair I want to keep for future purposes. I am a huge Parachromis fan. I love Jaguars, Dovi, all them. That group and that family is very dear to me, and if I can get a large, impressive specimen from that male and obviously that female, I'd be very, very content on, you know, dedicating an aquarium permanently for them. So other than that, that's the tiger wolf pair. Let's move to the tiger tank. Sorry for the glare, it's very, very sunny in here. And you notice that I've weaned the tank out a little bit. I've actually sold off, I think, 3 red tiger males. And that was inevitable. Anybody that's seen this aquarium knows that it was very, very heavily stocked. And again, it's a very, very aggressive territorial species. The females are definitely more tolerant with each other than the males are. And obviously when the males get too large, they'll become problematic. This is my main male. Very nice specimen. Not a psycho like the tiger wolf in the tank below. But, you know, could become a future psycho. So that has to be kept in mind. And right now, like I said, I think there's maybe 3 or 4 males remaining. I'll probably sell off at least one other male and then let them sort it out amongst themselves. Possibly let them pair up naturally. Igor and the albino here. Sorry, it's like I said, it's very, very bright in here, so everything looks a little washed out. But this albino and Igor have definitely been doing some mock breeding. Both their breeding tubes have been out. Not sure if you know, they're male and female, but either way, they hang out together and they've definitely paired up, which is, you know, which seems to be very, very good. They've gone through some growing pains. There's been some spats between each other, but at this moment, everything seems to be very, very settled down between the two of them. In the other corner, there's a pair of Salvini cichlids. You can see that beautiful little female right there. Super colorful. The male is very, very large, very bullish. But again, very inquisitive, excellent variety of fish, but again can be considered to be very, very aggressive for their size. So at this moment, this pair has no problem handling the tiger wolves and, you know, basically claiming a territory for themselves. So let's now move to the 35-gallon grow out. And as you can see, this is home to many OBs. And I have a really beautiful firefish. Yeah, you can see him right there. Excellent quality. He's from Aqua House Gauss, which is a breeder out in Germany. He breeds very, very nice quality African cichlids. And he has bred for me on a couple occasions, and the babies have come out very light, maybe almost albino. So I'm very interested to grow it as offspring and see what comes out in the long term. But as you can see, that's a quality specimen, and very happy with him. There's a young Nairi in here also who is super colored up and very, very eager to breed. But some of the specimens, some of the juveniles in this aquarium are doing very, very nicely, and you know, definitely have some future potential to them. Other than that, another growed aquarium below. This houses another potential breeding OB male for me. As you can see, he's got superb coloration, and again, just a mixture of, you know, some OBs, electric yellows, and some red by red. So nothing too crazy going on here. Again, I want to take the fish out of this aquarium and upgrade them to the next size up, and then just shuffle a few other fish in this fish room around. As you can see, that male is just awesome. So other than that, 20-gallon grow out. Again, a mixture of all the regulars. The one little mixture I have in here is some red terror fry from my pair downstairs. Probably about 30 individuals left. Very small still, but feisty little buggers. And I imagine, you know, they look pretty good. So I imagine that, again, once they mature out and grow out, that there will probably be some nice potential individuals in here. There's one that's a little bit bigger, but overall doing very, very nicely. Again, that's a 20-gallon grow out. And then just to sum it up quickly, 15-gallon grow out down below, home to a large male dragon blood who didn't get along with one of my show males in my other aquarium. So other than that, that's the fish room, and we'll continue the tour by checking out my main display tank in the living room. So here's the main display tank. Obviously everything's looking up to snuff. I recently did a quick update video on this aquarium individually, and nothing really has changed. Again, all the same tank inhabitants. They get very, very friendly when I come up to the aquarium because they think obviously I'm going to feed them, but maybe I'll be able to scroll in on a few individuals again. There's the Predatory, female Salvini. I would love it if the female Madagascar would come down for a little look. Again, that black coloration she has against the black background just almost makes it impossible for me to film her. Here's my dominant OB male in the aquarium, my Mapanga Red. A lot of people like this guy. He really stands out. Maybe it's that nose he has. Other than that, some living stone eye, which are very nice. I have a young, basically female red tiger growing out in the aquarium that is getting along very well with everybody else. But that basically sums it up. Again, it's a 120-gallon aquarium. It's very, very mixed. It's very diverse, but it works out very, very nicely. All the fish, again, that have been in this aquarium that are a good size have basically been in the aquarium with each other. So no new recent adds to the aquarium. And sometimes, you know, a word of advice, adding a new show fish, you know, a potentially large individual to an established aquarium can be very, very difficult. Again, any of the fish that are in the aquarium that have claimed, you know, a hierarchy type position will definitely push around anything that poses a threat to their position. So a lot of times in this aquarium, if I do add anything, I like to add an individual that's small. You know, there might be a couple OBs or a couple other smaller peacocks in the aquarium that, you know, swim around and basically go untouched. Here's my Fanzoberi Luino reef. Like, for example, this guy here, this sulfurhead cross. He's a smaller guy. He doesn't pose a threat to any of the larger, more dominant species in the aquarium. Obviously, as he grows, at some point he might potentially displace somebody that's in the hierarchy above him. But at this size, he's no problem. And because he's no problem, he goes ignored by pretty much the rest of the crew here. So other than that, that's the 120. As you can see, everybody's very happy, very friendly and colorful. But again, a whole lot hasn't really changed, but everything obviously is doing very, very nicely. So let's head downstairs. So here we are downstairs. I keep two 75-gallon tanks here, and obviously I use them for grow out, and I'm also using the one at the top for breeding purposes. I have a beautiful OB male here. I've had him now for a number of years, and he has bred on a few occasions with some of the dragon blood and OB peacock females in the aquarium. So it's always nice that when you have a choice specimen that you could possibly pass his lineage on to the next generation. Some other OBs starting to develop in the aquarium. And again, like I said, I use this tank for breeding purposes, but I also, because of the lack of tank space available, I'll take other individuals and basically throw them in this tank and grow them out. There is some of the larger red terror fry in this tank. This guy was from the 55-gallon upstairs. A little rough. He was battling it out with a couple of, I think, the hongi species. But every other individual, as you can see here, looks really, really good. So I'll give that guy some time to grow his fins back. He'll definitely make a full recovery, but he is definitely showing his red terror true nature. I noticed that he is pretty aggressive towards the other fish in the tank despite his size. So, you know, I'll step back and take a look at that. Again, you know, no specific theme, nothing special going on, just a bunch of happy, healthy fish. And let's move to the tank below. But as you can see, before I go to the tank below, you can kind of see how this tank looks, you know, the coloration on it. I have two very high output daylight T5 bulbs on the aquarium. But again, the spectrum themselves, see, sometimes people will talk about output or spectrum to enhance the fish. And if you were to ask me what is more important, personally I believe it's the spectrum. You know, down below I have a tank that's obviously not quite as bright as the tank above, obviously. You know, these T5s are 3 times the intensity. But when it comes to pure color, you know, using like a daylight type bulb, which is on most of people's aquariums, I find what it will do is naturally kind of wash the color of the fishes out. Whereas if you use a bulb like this, I'll have to actually brighten it up a little bit for you guys to see, but you can see that there's almost more of like a pinkish hue to this water. And what that does, it obviously brings out and enhances the fish's natural coloration. You know, there's nothing artificial about the light, it's just more of a full spectrum bulb, whereas the typical daylight bulb has a tendency to bleach out the color of the fish, and this just has the ability to enhance the natural coloration. So you can see how much more colorful these individuals down below look, and this is just under a single fluorescent bulb. So it's very, very impressive, and people ask me all the time which bulbs I'm using. And the bulbs I use are from ZooMed. Again, I don't have any LEDs or any special lighting on the aquariums, just traditional fluorescents. And I use the Fluorescent bulbs by ZooMed, which are pretty much true, I would call them like true 10K bulbs. And when you're sitting around a true 10K type bulb, usually again there's a pinkish hue to the bulb and its output, and it's going to balance out and definitely elevate the fish's natural color in your aquarium. So a lot of it, in my opinion, has to do more with the spectrum of the bulb than its intensity. And you could duplicate this good level of coloration just by adding a simple bulb of a different level of spectrum. Again, you know, you want to stick around maybe more the 10,000 Kelvin range, instead of a lower Kelvin bulb like, you know, you typically get with your regular daylights. And then you get this beautiful natural enhanced coloration. So it's kind of hard to scroll in on some of these guys, but these are all just grow outs from the previous aquariums upstairs. And again, you know, this is one of the last stops on their grow out journey. As you can see, it's the 75, and like I was mentioning upstairs, I'm going to be using a 135 gallon now for the last part of the grow out stage. So any individuals that I find that are exceptional specimens, like this young male OB down here, I will want to grow them out to their full adult potential. So right now this guy probably sits in around 3 inches, but I'd like to grow him out to about 4.5, and just see what the end product is on some of these fish that I breed. You know, sometimes I sell them off a little earlier than expected. I get a photo, you know, 6 months down the road by the person who purchased the fish off me, and I'm like, wow, impressive. And you know what? I would really like to enjoy the fish's full development along the full stage, basically, if I can. So that's going to require obviously more tank space, and you'll see what I'm up to in the next part of the video. So here we are on the final stage of the tour. This is the 135 gallon tank with my red tear pair. Those who have watched my update videos, you know I've had this pair for a certain amount of time. The male and female have grown and turned into spectacular specimens. And I've been lucky enough and fortunate enough to breed them and raise a bunch of fry off them. And again, like I said, the tank that they're in is 135 gallons. And this is the tank I'm going to be using to raise the last bit of fry that I have on that stage. Like I said, I wanted to take those individuals from the 75 gallon and upgrade them and grow them out to their full adult potential. And this is the tank that I'm going to be doing it in. So that said, unfortunately and fortunately, this pair of red terrors, I sold them. So there's an individual who has a bunch of other big aquariums and is a big Central and South American fan, and these guys are going to find their new home there. And I know some of you guys would say, oh, this is the type of pair that you keep on, you know, you keep for a lifetime and you never give up. But you know what? Things do change. And like I said, I love this pair very, very much. But I want to kind of just keep things moving along. You know, there's no specific project that I have in mind. Maybe down the road, you know, I'll be growing out something else. Like I said, the tiger wolf pair, eventually I want them to end up in this aquarium. But in the meantime, I'm going to use it. You know, there's a lot of space in here to grow some show individuals. Some of the show OB peacocks, some of the other crosses. And I know that the red terrier pair is going to a very, very good home. And they're going to be loved, and they're going to do really, really well. I believe that they'll be going into an aquarium even larger than this. And like I said, it's not that I won't see them again. You know, they're not going too far from here. But at some point, sometimes things change. And like I said, you know, the red terrier pair is going to move on. And I'm going to continue doing what I do. You know, bringing you guys videos and updates on different kinds of species. And obviously progress that goes on in the fish room and the fish tank. So, like I said, it's a little unfortunate. You know, you never want seller's remorse, but in this case, like I said, I found them a very, very good home, and you know, they'll be very, very happy there. So, other than that, you can see that the female's showing extremely good color. The male, I think, sometimes steals the show. He has a couple scrapes on the side of his face. After the water change I did this week, he went all nuts, and they actually got into a big, big fight. So both the pair look a lot better. They had scuffs on their heads and their lips, and basically they heal up real, real quickly. So I imagine that the two scrapes on the side of the male's face should be gone by next week. So other than that, you know, I'm going to try to shoot another real good profile video of this pair to showcase them and keep it for future reference. But that's kind of the big news, and they're moving on. So other than that, guys, that's it. That's all I got to say, and I'll keep you posted when the next video you know, comes along and is ready to be posted. Thanks for watching.